Namaste. Welcome. So good to have you here joining me for a little bit of yoga. This is just a little intro video about myself. I am a 500-hour registered yoga teacher through Yoga Alliance. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about my own yoga journey. At the end of the year 2014, I was very sick. I was sick physically, I was sick emotionally, mentally. I felt like I was falling apart. I had given and given to my family and my loved ones without having any time for my own self-care. And that took a toll on me over many years. And at the end of 2014, when I found myself so sick and feeling so poor of health in every facet, my whole being was crying out for some nourishment and some self-care and love, I made a vow to myself at the end of that year. And I decided that with the beginning of the year 2015, I would go to my first yoga class. I had a lot of back pain and back problems, and people had been offering for me to go to yoga and see if it would help my back pain. And I kept saying, I don't have time for that. Well, in January of 2015, I decided that I had to make time for my self-care. And I went to my first yoga class, and I was amazed. I was amazed at how that first class, that one first hour, made such a huge difference in how I felt, in my whole person, physically, emotionally, and mentally. And I was hooked from the first class. And I kept going to yoga classes, and through each experience, bit by bit, I began to learn a new way of living, a new way of being, a new way of feeling. I had never felt so at peace before. It was amazing. And I also gained a new way of relating to myself first, and then with my loved ones and my friends and even strangers. So my whole life improved because of yoga. Yoga isn't just about a position that we get our body into. Yoga truly is so much more than that. And because yoga changed my life so incredibly, I ventured into becoming a teacher. And so in June of 2017, I graduated from my first 200-hour yoga training. I followed that up a few months later by venturing into a 500-hour certification. And in May of 2018, when I turned 50 years old, I became a 500-hour certified yoga teacher. And so I wanted to share that with you, to say yoga will meet us where we're at. We don't have to be a certain age. We don't have to have a certain physical ability. None of that. Yoga will meet you just where you're at, right here, right now. My philosophy on yoga practice is that it should be functional, that it is best for the body, for us to look at it in a functional approach. How is this affecting my body? Is this nourishing my body? Is this nourishing my whole person? And so through all my practices, I offer functional ways of movement rather than aesthetic ways. We're not looking through my classes to look a certain way in a position, but rather to target how are we feeling in that position, and what area of the body are we looking to affect through that position. How are we looking to improve through that position? Yoga is not a one-size-fits-all. You can be of all body shapes and styles with different ranges of mobility. and you can still practice yoga. Yoga can be adaptable to each person. And it is immensely helpful to improve your entire well-being. Again, not just a physical aspect. In the Western mindset here in the U.S., we tend to take things and make them more westernized and exercise, and looking at yoga from an exercise perspective. And while it can be useful for that, again, yoga is so much more than that. It's so much more than the physical aspect. Yoga is a whole person experience. And because of that, through each of my classes, I offer little bits of wisdom insights throughout the class. Typically, each class revolves around a particular theme, and you'll notice that in the titles of my videos, it will say what type of yoga is being offered and the theme that I talked through in that class. I share a little bit of wisdom quotes from different places that I find along the internet from different people. I may also share some quotes through a book that I may be reading at the time or something that's really touched me. When I share quotes from other people, I will note them in the information below the video. If something particularly touched you, you know where to look for that quote after the video is over. And sometimes I ad-lib some things. I may or may not be able to remember what I said from my personal heart and experience, and I may or may not include that in the quotes below the video. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I believe yoga leads us to a better life, a better way of being, a better way of relating with the people around us and with the world that we live in. And I hope that through each of my videos that I will be able to impart that beautiful essence and the immense peace of yoga that I feel, and that I can share that with you. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey. I am honored to be a part of yours. Namaste.